Hello, and sorry guys for the time. I had a little bit of I don't know, a brain fog. I typically go live at 12:15, so I was a little bit confused as to why I'm supposed to go live now. Anyhow, thank you for your patience. Welcome to another live training. Thank you for joining me today. Today, the discussion is going to be around the top 5 warning signs of CEO burnout and how to address them. Hi, I'm Leslie Gadet, self-care strategist dedicated to empowering female entrepreneurs who lead teams. My mission is to help you weave self-care into your business, enabling you and your team members to prevent burnout, sustain motivation, and flourish together, both in your personal lives and your professional lives. And today we're going to go a little bit deeper into a critical issue that many women in leadership face: CEO burnout. We'll explore the top 5 warning signs, particularly prevalent among female leaders, and discuss practical strategies to counteract them. To set the stage, we'll also briefly touch upon the 4 stages of burnout that I like to talk about, providing a comprehensive understanding of this pervasive issue and how it evolves. And by the end of our discussion or our session, you'll be equipped with insights and actionable tips to recognize the early signs of burnout and implement effective strategies to maintain your well-being and leadership today. So let's do a quick recap of the 4 stages of burnout. When I say quick recap, I've talked about the 4 stages of burnout before. They are the honeymoon phase, onset of stress, chronic stress, and burnout, chronic burnout. And so I'm going to explain how these stages can manifest differently in women, particularly in leadership roles. Especially, as I said, burnout it really actually does affect us, and it starts out in a way that we don't necessarily think is a burnout stage. And so that's the honeymoon phase, and that's why I want to talk to you about it. So in this stage, the honeymoon phase, this is where there's that initial excitement, right? You are building your business, you are creating new processes, you're building a team, you've got maybe something amazing that you are adding to your toolkit to offer your clients. And so you're excited, you're in it, you're doing the work, you're being highly productive. But for female leaders, this can be particularly an intense time of especially it's an intense time, as there's that pressure to prove yourself in environments that may still harbor gender biases. So this stage is critical really for you to pay attention to. So again, it's that pushing through deadlines, thinking you have all the energy you need, but you keep repeating this day in and day out. And finally, it catches up to you and you move into that next stage of burnout, which is the onset of stress. So gradually, that initial enthusiasm, it might give way to everyday stressors. So you might begin to experience a disparity in your work-life balance. You may, where you're often juggling multiple roles within your professional and personal life. You might experience mild symptoms of burnout, like feeling tired or unfulfilled, even going so far as to deny that anything's wrong, or you avoid dealing with anything that comes up because you've deadlines to meet, right? Responsibilities, obligations that are on your plate. You've got this deadline for this new project or product that you're launching. And you are maybe ignoring those signs that are coming up because that are basically telling you to recognize that it's time for you to slow down and take care of yourself and to gauge how you're feeling. And instead you're pushing through and you're finding that you're getting very stressed about it. And that can then lead you into the next stage of burnout, which is chronic stress and burnout. And this stage marks a significant intensification of our stress symptoms, where challenges of leadership can amplify feelings of being overwhelmed. And so it's crucial for you to recognize this stage, especially societal expectations for women and the double bind dilemma can exacerbate stress levels. So the double bind dilemma is when you're faced with challenges of societal or situational expectations that are contradictory or impossible to meet. Women who find themselves in this double bind often feel they're faced with false dilemmas. So Catherine D'Amico wrote it this way. She wrote, false dilemmas refer to the affirmation that you need to choose to be either assertive or kind, use direct language and be viewed as self-promoting and rude, or risk being misunderstood, to set boundaries but feel you can't be empathetic at the same time. Be successful, savvy, ambitious, and nice. Be heard, but feel you need to sacrifice your values. To be a team player and look after yourself. To speak up and be humble, be ambitious and likable. That women need to either be driven, powerful, and focused, or amiable, a sweet pushover, easy to get along with, or combative and confrontational. And so this is where we get stuck in this, like we go into this, if I'm not assertive, if I don't speak my mind, if I don't say this is what I want, then I'm not being assertive and I'm not being a good CEO. I'm not being a good business person, good businesswoman. But on the flip side to that, if I'm too soft, if I am too nice, if I don't speak my mind as often, like if I'm not rough around the edges, then people are going to walk all over me and I'm not going to get the success that I'm driving for. So that's that double bind dilemma, right? So again, that chronic stress and burnout, if you find yourself in this stage, this is where again you're pushing, right? Because you feel like you have to actually be in these standards. And again, that can then lead to the next stage of burnout, which is burnout syndrome, which can also become a habitual stage, a habitual pattern that you fall under. So the final stage of burnout is where you feel consumed by work-related stress. And that can manifest differently in women who may face unique societal pressures and stigmatization around admitting to feeling burnt out. So, understanding these stages is the first step in developing a proactive approach to managing burnout. And when you recognize these signs early, especially in the context of female leadership, strategies can be tailored to address the nuanced challenges that women face in these roles. So, top 5 warning signs. Let's talk about them. I found these based on market research calls that I ran. I spoke with several different women. This is still part of my process. I still want to be able to speak with women and do like a business wellness audit, if you will, of like their ideal around their knowledge around not only their own stressors, but their team stressors and how their business is doing. And based on my market research calls, these are the 5 warning signs that were all shared similarly among the women that I interviewed. So the first warning sign in the top 5 is overwhelmed with admin tasks. So women leaders often find themselves swamped with admin tasks that can be energy drainers and time consuming, right? The warning sign of overwhelm with these tasks often occurs during the onset of stress stage, right? So this is where you've actually gone through the honeymoon stage, right? You push, push, push. You didn't make sure that you took those breaks so that you were taking care of yourself. You found that you had a lot of energy. You were really being highly productive. And then you kept pushing and pushing, and you found yourself 2 weeks later, perhaps you were in a 2 week on a roll of 2 weeks of doing this, and you found yourself in this overwhelm stage, the onset of stress stage. So to combat this, consider delegating tasks that don't require your specific expertise, and utilize tools and software that can automate, right? That can automate your routine tasks, like your emails that go out to your clients or your customers, or your email base, to people who have come onto your email list through some kind of opt-in that they did, and you're giving them information, you're nurturing this audience. Free up your time to focus on strategic decision making and leadership activities by automating these things like this. We know this. I know that you know this, right? My main objective really is to ask you to reflect on how you utilize your team. Are you using their skill sets to the best of their ability to meet your goals? And do you feel confident in your team's ability? Um, you know, are you able to give over to someone else? Do you have systems in place that make life easier for you overall? I know that if you fall under, like for myself, I used to be a perfectionist. And so I always would think that if I don't do it, no one else can do it right. But when all that did for me was just keep me stuck doing so many things, and not allowing myself to ask for help. And it's really important that you are able to allow yourself to ask for help and delegate out those tasks so that you free up your time in doing the things that, are the income generating for your business, to make sure that you're managing your business well. And you also got a team that also feels like, okay, my leader is the North Star. So I know that what my CEO, the owner of the company, has a vision for the company. These are the things that they have me doing. And so I feel confident because they feel confident. And that shows in how you can delegate things. You're not feeling overwhelmed again with those tasks that really could be used well through the team that you already have. The second warning sign in the top 5 is difficulty in maintaining work-life balance. So when I say work-life balance, to me, work-life balance is really actually having a couple of things. First, clarity on your goals, like the vision for your company, the goals that you've set, the things that, the things that you want your business, how you want your business to look, what your bigger goals are, having clarity around what you do and the why behind it. And when you do have that, then you are setting yourself up for success on your calendar, because you're putting things on your calendar that, of course, you understand are in alignment with where you're at in that journey right now, and you're not overwhelming yourself with things that are in alignment with something that's further down the road. And so that's like that clarity piece on understanding it. The second piece is to that having work-life balance is like, once you have that in place and you're able to like use your calendar well, like again, it comes down to time management. So important. You get that quality of life when you learn how to manage your calendar well in a way that you're using your time efficiently and you're not overworking yourself, you're not overwhelming yourself, you're not overwhelming and overworking your team, but you're doing things that are in alignment right now. And that allows you then to have that freedom of and flexibility of time for, which is the second piece, for your loved ones, for the people in your life, for your community, for your circle of friends, having that quality of life outside of the business. I always talk about having quality of life personally is important because you should be taking care of yourself, but professionally as well. You want to have that quality of life because you spend a lot of time together, either by yourself if you're a solopreneur or with your team members. You spend a lot of time together doing the things to help, to make your business successful. So you want to make sure that you take care of this. So this sign of difficulty in maintaining that work-life balance can actually appear in the honeymoon phase, because you're at that place where you're enthusiastic, but now it's like you're starting to get closer and closer to the onset of stress, that second phase of burnout. And that, because that's where your enthusiasm is starting to wane. So striking that balance between your professional responsibilities and your personal life is a common challenge that, again, I found it was expressed in my market research calls. And to address this, it's really just to set clear boundaries between your work and your personal time. Again, one of the things I talked to someone was they equated their location, which is they work from home. I, like myself, I work from home. They equated that with equate work with home. So meaning that because they're home, that's where they do business. That's where they were spending a lot of their time, and they had to learn how to prioritize their time. So prioritizing your task and learning to say no to non-essential activities, or at least not right now to those activities, especially, again, if they are for further down the road. Being like really super strategic around how you use your time is really going to help you. And I encourage a culture where that work-life balance, or harmony, if you prefer that word, is respected, and so you're setting an example for your team, making sure that they understand that, I don't, this is a quality of life for me is important as a CEO. I have my boundaries around like how I'm going to use my time, when I'm going to be available for work, when I'm going to be available for my family and friends, using my calendar wisely that way, as well as I want to be able to respect and honor the same for my team. That is like setting an example for your team. Also that'll bring people together closer to work better together. Now, the third warning sign in the top 5 is physical stress from prolonged work hours. Again, this is usually a sign of chronic stress and burnout. Continuous long work hours at a desk can lead to that physical strain. Remember how I said that in my research? It was expressed to me that work and home go together, kind of like movies and popcorn. It's important, actually imperative, that you incorporate regular breaks into your schedule, to stand, to stretch, take a brief walk, to get outside, to allow your brain to reset. Just allow your brain, like, when I say get outside, that means it's just like allowing you to focus on other things that are not work related, not looking at a screen, not taking your phone with you and using that to start scrolling social media. Now, if you use your phone like I do on my walks, I listen to a podcast. That is a different way that I'm using my brain, but I'm actually away from work. So again, giving yourself a break is going to allow that your brain a rest from like work related, is going to allow it to reset, to digest what you fed it, because it's like your body, you're feeding it something, allowing it to digest it, to reset, and you be recharged and energized to get back at it when you do. I'd also encourage you, another way is to look at your workspace, how it's set up. Does it promote good posture? Is it well lit? Are there windows, so you can look outside? Like I have a window here. I can look outside. I have actually two windows. I can look outside and I can see, the birds and the trees and the squirrels when they're running around. I can see life outside my window. I can see the sunlight. It can come in. You could even consider, some people like this, you can consider a standing desk or or even ergonomic chairs. Regular physical activity as well, even if it's short bursts throughout your day, can significantly reduce your stress levels. There's so many articles out there that speak to work-related stress. The American Institute of Stress said this: 83% of US workers suffer from work-related stress, with 25% saying their job is the number one stressor in their lives. About 1 million Americans miss work each day because of stress. And 76% of US workers report that workplace stress affects their personal relationships. So it's really important for you to start paying attention to how you actually do business and how you're actually showing up for yourself personally and professionally. Allow yourself to have quality of life in both areas. Now, the fourth warning sign is that in the top 5 is emotional drain from team dependency. So this can be a symptom in the chronic stress and burnout stage. As a leader, it's natural for you to feel responsible for your team's well-being. However, it is essential to foster a team environment where responsibilities are shared and support's mutual. This for me comes down to knowing your team and knowing with certainty that they share the same vision for your company. It's one of the first things I address in my business wellness blueprint with the team wellness code. The reason why is because when you're on the same wavelength, it makes things run so much smoother in your business. My suggestion for you in this instance is to encourage open communication so that you get to really know your team, provide resources for them, even if they're team members, or your team members could be employees or a mix of contractors, employees, but help them to develop their problem solving skills by providing them with resources and ensuring that you're not the sole source of support. Again, I want to reiterate that. Make sure that you are not just the only sole source of support. If you have a team, maybe you can have them team up as accountability partners so that they can lean on each other in times that they need to have questions. They have questions, they want to like mull it over with their teammates to see if okay, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I is the solution to this problem that I think I have. What are your thoughts on it? And again, if they can't get the answers from each other, then they can come to you. But you don't want it to always be like you are having to drop everything. You want to have like a team, a supportive team that's able to like do their job well, right? And one of the things I advocate for is that there should be some form of synergy where, again, another team member could step in when needed. If someone was away, for example, again, it comes down to empowering and providing tools for your team to thrive in all areas. So if one team member is down, whether they're sick, whether they're on vacation, whether they have to take a day off to do something that's personal, you want to be able to have your team as a whole being able to like support each other and be able to help, so that there's that, number one, your team member who is off or away doesn't come back to like madness on their plate, but actually can come back to knowing that they're confidently that their team members were able to support them in their role while they were out. This is also good for you as the owner of the company. Because it shows team collaboration. And again, you want to build something that thrives, right? You don't want to have to be that person who has to go in and put fires out everywhere, every time. Now, the fifth and final warning sign in the top 5 is lack of personal time and self-care. It's crucial to allocate time for self-care and personal interests outside of work so that you have quality of life and you feel fulfilled and live from a place of joy. And so that you don't find yourself in burnout syndrome. As much as I encourage that, quality of life should be encouraged in the work environment, especially because you work closely with each other many hours of your work days. And again, why it's covered in my team wellness code. I also want to stress to you, because you're the leader of your business, it's important that you also have quality of life personally and professionally. It's why, again, I'm so passionate about burnout prevention. I encourage practices that nurture your physical, emotional, and mental well being as the CEO of your business so that you thrive, whether it's pursuing outside hobbies, spending time with loved ones, making work tasks fun, gamify them. You're making like, even someone I know said they use stickers when they're working, because this helps them to feel like it's fun. Simply taking moments of solitude can also be good for you, like taking that time to just go and sit and be and not have any distractions. Prioritizing self-care is key to recharge and avoid burnout or prevent the deepening of burnout if you're already on that trajectory. By recognizing these warning signs and implementing strategies to address them, you as the owner, this female CEO, you can navigate challenges of leadership while maintaining your well-being and in turn inspire your team to do the same. So before we conclude today's session on the top 5 warning signs of CEO burnout, my hope is that you've gained valuable insight into recognizing and addressing these signs in your own life. And remember, the journey to preventing burnout is not just about avoiding stress. It's really about creating sustainability, a sustainable balance that nurtures your well-being while you lead your business to success. So with that being said, I want to give you 5 effective strategies that you can adopt to recognize early burnout warning signs and avoid burnout if you can altogether. Um, so have those routine self assessments, like regularly checking in with yourself to gauge your stress levels and overall well-being, using maybe self-assessment tools, journals to track your mental, emotional, and physical state. One of the things that I do, I created a tool. It's called the Emotional Triggers Tracker. And it's about, maybe you are that person who's found that you are emotionally triggered by certain things in your life. And that could just be for some inner work that you have to do. But this tool that I created is to help you to track how you are typically responding when you're emotionally triggered to something. And if you want that copy, just reach out to me and I can send you a copy of that, so you can start using it for you to try it out at least for 7 days to see how that works. What this does is it helps you to recognize your patterns, like, oh, I get triggered by this. Why? And it allows you then to start going deeper and saying, okay, so this is a pattern. When did I first believe that this began? I mean, that's how you can really start recognizing patterns of being triggered emotionally and how you respond to things. And when you recognize like early signs of stress or exhaustion as well, that can help you take proactive steps before they escalate into burnout. Again, that exhaustion can also lead you to have emotional responses when you're triggered, right? And how you respond to things. And of course, if you have a business and you have team members, you want to be able to have like not have everyone walking on eggshells around you, because you just get set off really easily. And I don't think that's the kind of lifestyle that you want to live either. So that's my first tip. So having a routine self-assessment. The second one is to delegate and automate. Identify the tasks that don't require your unique expertise and delegate them out to team members or that can do these, that have the skill sets to do it, or use your automation tools, right? Just because you're the head of your business doesn't mean that you have to do everything by yourself. This can alleviate the overwhelm from your admin duties, allowing you to focus on strategic leadership and decision making. And also, it helps you to empower your team through delegating, because it helps build their skill sets and their confidence. It creates a more resilient and capable team, as well as it shows you who your leaders are for when you're ready to expand and bring in new hires. You can put these people in mentorship roles to teach the new hires how everything works, giving them that support that they will need as they are learning new things. So that's important as well. Now, the third one is establishing clear boundaries, very important, around your time. Again, time is so important, right? It's valuable. It's our most valuable commodity. And yet we look at money as being the most valuable commodity when really it's our time. Our time is the most valuable commodity because once it's gone, we don't get it back. Yes, we get more time, but it's not going to be spent the same way. And so today, if you have an event that you were supposed to go to, but you missed it because of something work related, that event is gone. That time is gone, especially if it's a family occasion, if it's a group gathering, if it's friendships gathering together, you're going to miss out on that. And I know that you want quality of life as well. Outside of your work, you want to have quality of life personally too. So define and communicate your work life boundaries, if you will, to your team and stick to them. Not only are you sticking to it, sticking to your boundaries around your time as far as your team members are concerned, but you're also holding yourself accountable to it. I know some people like they can't hold themselves accountable because they're like, oh, I'll do this because I actually have time to do this. And it's like, no, if you set that time aside for you to have something, for you fun for you to do, whether or self-care related, make sure that you hold yourself accountable to that as well. This can include like designated work hours, unplugging after work, and ensuring that you have personal time. By setting an example, you encourage your team to adopt similar practices, and then you're promoting a healthier work culture, right? One of the things that I wanted to bring up really quick about this, why I say time is so important, is also teaching your team members about time and managing it and holding themselves accountable to those boundaries. A friend of mine has a team member who's across the world at a completely different time zone, of course, and she would be up at 2 a.m. commenting on her posts. And when she found out that she was doing this, she, said to her, look, I don't expect you to be up at 2 a.m., especially because I know you have a family, you have young children. I want you to be able to engage, but I want you to do that at a time where you're actually rested and you're not like putting yourself at risk for burnout, right? And so that was one of the reasons why it was really important for her to have that conversation with her team member. And the fourth one is I've talked about this before, but it's incorporating physical activity. That regular physical activity can significantly reduce stress and improve your overall well-being. So schedule those short breaks throughout your day for stretching, for walking, like any form of exercise that you enjoy is really good for you. A healthy body supports a healthy mind, enhancing your capacity to manage stress and avoid burnout. And the fifth one is foster team support. Again, if you have a team, you want them to work well together, you want team collaboration, you want a happy team to be happy emotionally. And so you want to create that team environment where responsibilities are shared. Remember, and members feel supported. So, like again, you want that team environment where responsibilities are shared and the team members feel supported. And when I say shared responsibilities, that allows then if the team member is out, that someone can step in and it's like business can continue as usual. You're not waiting for someone to come back, especially if they've taken vacation time or they're out sick for an extended period of time. You just really want to be able to have, that flow, ease and flow in your business. I truly feel that in a team, you are only as good as your weakest team member. So it is important that we all support each other. So encourage that open communication, provide resources for professional development, cultivate a culture where your team can rely on each other and support each other when that support is needed, whether to lean on each other, to go over brainstorming ideas, because if they bring, I want to also encourage that if they bring you a problem, that they also bring you what they think is a solution. So that shows you that they have actually done the work to think about it. And even if it isn't the solution that you want, at least that shows you that they are proactive. And when you know that your team is competent and supportive, it reduces the emotional drain from feeling solely responsible for everyone's well-being. So when you implement these strategies, you can build a solid foundation to recognize early signs of burnout and take preventative measures for yourself. It teaches your team to do the same because you're leading by example. Again, it not only benefits you as the leader, but it sets a positive example for your team because you're promoting a culture of well-being and resilience within your organization. You're taking a stand and saying that quality of life in the office is just as important as in our personal lives. One last thing I also encourage you to do is to take a moment to reflect on your current experiences and ask yourself, am I showing signs of burnout? And how is it affecting my ability to lead effectively? Your honesty in answering this question is the first step toward positive change. Now, if you've identified with any of the warning signs I've just talked about today, know that you're not alone and that support is available. I invite you to reach out to me so that we can explore how my business wellness blueprint can offer you personalized strategies to prevent burnout, enhance your well being, and empower you to lead with renewed energy and purpose so that you and your team have quality of life, both personally and professionally. Because I know your role as a CEO is demanding. I get it, but it shouldn't come at the cost of your health and happiness. So together we can work towards a future where you thrive in your professional and personal life, your team members thrive, and your business thrives. So again, I invite you to click on the link in the headline of my profile, schedule a free 30-minute business self-care consultation call with me, and so that you can take the first step towards a more balanced, fulfilling leadership journey. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time.